Hey guys, so today on the 3800 Daily, what we're doing is we're going to be installing an E85 fuel pump. So what we're going to be doing over the next couple of videos is swapping this Grand Prix over to an E85 fuel, which basically is 85% ethanol, which is the E, and then 15% gasoline. And the gasoline is in there to keep people from drinking it out of the pump because it's alcohol. It's made with corn. So first things first, let's get something straight. To change the fuel pump, you either have to A, take out the back seat and open up the door that's underneath the back seat on the driver's side, which will give you access to your fuel pump, which is on an 04 and older vehicles. Or B, you gotta drop the fuel tank after emptying it. Nobody wants to do that. So, Terrell did something on his channel with one of his Grand Prix. He's the owner of Hellboy, by the way. To give him credit, I'm gonna link his video in this description because I got this idea from him. Speaking of which, UPS is here with my fuel pump. So they just pulled in, so I'm gonna go get that. I got my fuel pump. Like we were talking about, another way to get to that fuel pump without having to drop the tank, which is what we're gonna do. We're not dropping the tank, screw that. First, take out your back seat and then fold your seats down. And then right here, you'll see this little circle thing. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this circle out like this, and then cut down like this, and then cut across like this, and then cut up like this, and then back around. And this entire section is gonna come out. So your fuel pump sits right here. So that's why we're not just cutting out this oval, because the fuel pump's right here. So we gotta cut down a little further like that. And then once you get that out, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a nice thick piece of plastic, like black plastic, and slap it on top of there with some weather stripping, and then use tap screws to screw it back on top. So that way, all we gotta do is take those screws out and take that plastic panel off to get back to our fuel pump if we ever need to change it again. All right, so we're gonna wipe down this surface first, just so that our marker sticks real nice all the way around, just like that. Oh, I need a black marker. And then we're gonna cut from, there's two little dots here in the sheet metal. I think that's where we're gonna cut to. And then straight up to the circle right there. I think that's so one thing to keep in mind that when you're starting to cut is there's probably going to be some sparks. So cut slow. Take your time. All right, don't rush it. If you for some reason have a leak in your fuel tank on the top, or you have a bad gasket, or the hose is loose or something and a spark gets in there and ignites those fumes, you are in for a world of trouble. So just like Terrell said, use a slow RPM dermal, create as less sparks as possible. If you have a better way or a better tool that you can use to cut that metal out without creating sparks, go for it. But my assumption is the less fuel in your tank, the better. I think what I might do is cut this out to, and you know, just so deep where I'm almost through it, and then get a punch and punch it out. And that's gonna keep me from throwing so many sparks inside of there. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. I'm gonna start with a chisel and start tapping around and tapping all this out. All right, so what I have is a hammer and just a flathead screwdriver, and just start tapping away at it. You get the gist of it. And we're done cutting. So, I have not lifted this up yet. I was waiting on you guys. Look. There it is. Our fuel pump. Guys, we did it. All right, so it looks like we've had some critters in here at some point. We're gonna get the shop back in here and clean all of this up. So I got to loosening some of these lines up, got it cleaned up a little bit, and come to realize this slipped this line off a little bit, and it is under pressure. Better yet, just unhook these wires right here from these two and just turn the car over. It'll run for a second and then cut off. And then eventually, once you disconnect all these lines, you get a screwdriver like this, and you'll put it in these little notches right here, just like that. You know, they're all over right here too. And you'll beat on it with a hammer, and it'll start to loosen and turn. These little locks will end up, these little locks right here will end up going over this way, because it'll be, the entire thing will turn like this. And then you should be able just to lift it all out. But be careful, there's a lot of fuel in there. Fuel's gonna come out with it, so have a towel handy. And just like that, this whole locking ring comes unlocked, like that. Then once that's unlocked, it'll come out just like that. Just lift it out. Let's back up for a minute. Warning. I'm so glad I cut this the way that I did. A little bit at a time and then tapped it out. Look how close that is on both sides. You don't want to cut your fuel tank open. Be careful. And this is what you pull out. Heads up, it's like this bottom half is almost too big to come out, but you really gotta squeeze it. Really squeeze it through the hole. It comes out, it fits, I promise. Now, I'm gonna go put this on the table. We're gonna start tearing this apart and putting the new pump in it. It's gonna be a couple of clips on the sides here. There's one here. There's one here. And there's one here. And if you use a screwdriver, and you kind of stick it down in here like this, it'll pop the entire thing out. There's gonna be fuel in here too, so you're gonna have to dump that out. But once that happens, this entire thing will come up and out, the entire top half. This purple line right here sends information to your fuel gauge, so make sure you get that unplugged as well. There's a clip up in there. You just pop it off, and it comes unplugged. And then this will lift up and out, just like that. Ugh. We're gonna clean that out. So as you might be able to tell, This looks awfully familiar. See? So this is like a in-tank filter that goes on the fuel pump. And your fuel pump is right here, with this line that comes out of it right here. This section is your fuel pump, and that's what we're taking out. So there are going to be a couple of clips that are holding it in. So there's a clip right here. There's also a clip right here. There we go. We're going to take this hose off. A couple of clips, of course. Once you pop those clips, that'll come right off just like that. And you should be able to pull your fuel pump right out of that housing as it drips fuel everywhere. Alright, now to our new pump. Of course, this is going to be the top with the plug, and this is going to be the bottom, and that's where your little filter is going to go. I'll pop that red cap off. Make sure you get everything lined up. Pop it on there just like that. Alright, now let's put this little rubber garment on there. Let's move on to our wiring. So what we're going to do is give this wire a little cut. We'll be able to pull it out. There's a couple of clips in there just like the other one. You'll be able to see it. Alright, so we got our fuel pump wiring off. I'm going to go ahead and wire this one on. I really don't think it matters. Both sides are exactly identical. So we're going to go ahead and cut this about 1.5 inches, about right there. And then we're going to go ahead and splice them together with these. I was told not to use the heat wrap because it degrades over time in the fuel. So we're going to give this the snips. There's no going back now. It's done is done. We're going to splice this a little bit. And same with the other side. Alright, we got them all crimped in there. So this is our new fuel pump wire. Also, by the way, this is a good opportunity for you to change your fuel filter if you want to. We're going to go ahead and take our wire, our newly spliced wire, and plug it back up in here. As you can see, plugs it back up in there. We need to put our sleeve on it. It'll work its way on eventually. Alright, so we're going to fold the sleeve down at the top like that, so we can slip this over. Then we're going to roll this sleeve right back over on top of it. And that will allow it to have a nice snug fit in here. Oh yeah. Perfect. Nice and snug fit. That ain't going nowhere. After making a quick run to the auto parts store, I got some hose from AutoZone. That is good for E85. It is a fuel line hose. This one looks like it is a 6.4 millimeter or a 1/4 inch. So what I've learned with this hose, your best bet in getting it to fit over the fuel pump lines is apply some heat. First I'm going to cut to length, and then on this end of your old fuel pump, this line, I'm going to cut this line off and then cut the this little sleeve off so I can reuse this. See, just cut a little slit and then just peel it apart with your needle nose. Alright, here we go. Put your new hose on. We're going to slip one of these clamps onto it and tighten that down. There we go. That's going to ensure it doesn't go anywhere. Put another clamp through there like that. And then go ahead and slip the hose on the fuel pump here. And then once you got it on there, tighten your clamp down. And then we're going to put the this right back in here where it was before, inside the filter. And there you go. All that's installed. Your fuel pump is now installed. Don't forget to plug it in the top here. Boom! E85 fuel pump is installed. I'm gonna go clean this out, and we're gonna go ahead and drop this unit back in and go install it back in the car. Don't forget to put this back on. All done. Let's go get it back in the car. So before we go reinstalling our pump back in the car, first we need to get all that fuel out. A little bit of grit in there, but that's okay. So I went and bought this as well. And we're just gonna slowly pump this fuel out because we're swapping over to E85. And I'm just gonna put all the fuel into another vehicle. All right, now we just wait for all this fuel to come out. All right, so we finally got the majority of our fuel siphoned out of our fuel tank. That's pretty good, right? Let me stick you down in here. Yeah, that's pretty good, I would hope. I only filled up 3 of those things, like 15 gallons. So we're gonna put our fuel pump back in there, our entire setup there, back in there and hooked up. And then I'm going to put the rest of this fuel in the Pilot and drive the Pilot down to the gas station and get some E85. Boom! Drop back in, installed and plugged in. Very good job, you guys. If you made it this far, I congratulate you. Took a lot of patience. So make sure you put your gasket back in it. That little gasket goes like down here underneath the whole assembly. Just wipe it down clean. They're reusable. And well, that's it. I figured what I would do is I would just fold this back over like that, just for now. Maybe I don't know, maybe get a piece of scrap metal and screw it in there, and then screw it in there just to hold it there for now, until I get something figured out. I'll probably do that later. I need to have my car running tomorrow so I can go to work, which is why we call it the 3800 daily. In case you didn't know, the meaning behind that name is it's a 3800 engine and it's my daily. And this is all about teaching you how to do stuff and keeping your car your daily vehicle. This is my daily car. I drive this every single day, back and forth to work, sometimes on the weekends, sometimes. Normally I take the Pilot because I'm with the family, but it can be done. So fuel pump is back in. If you want to know a little bit more on how to make it like a door, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it just yet. I'm still deciding. You can go watch Terrell's video. Again, I'm going to link it in the description for you. Also, I make these videos, these last couple of videos I'm making, all the way up until I actually put E85 in the car and run it and tune it, are all done within like a 4-day span. And if you want to see these videos as I make them and as they come out, go and join my Patreon. I put them on my Patreon the day that I upload them, the day that I make them. They're on my Patreon. So it's $3 a month. That's it. It's nothing. So go and support me. Until next time, drive easy.